You know, I've been treating men with erectile dysfunction for over 3 decades, and if I had $1 for every time a man over 60 told me, "Doc, I think this part of my life is over," I could retire tomorrow. But here's what might surprise you. In 90% of these cases, the problem isn't age at all. It's not your testosterone being too low or your arteries being too old. The real culprit? A breakdown in the pelvic floor muscle system that nobody talks about. And today, I'm going to show you how 2 simple oval-shaped foods can literally rebuild these muscles from the inside out, giving you the firmness and staying power you thought was gone forever. I'm Dr. Sophia, a urologist who spent the last 30 years helping men reclaim their intimate lives. And what I'm about to share with you isn't some miracle cure or pharmaceutical secret. It's basic human physiology that's been hiding in plain sight. See, when most men think about erectile dysfunction, they think about blood flow. And yes, circulation matters. But what they don't realize is that an erection isn't just about blood getting in. It's about blood staying in. And that's where your pelvic floor muscles come in. These are the muscles that literally squeeze around the base of your penis, creating a natural clamp that keeps blood trapped inside, maintaining your firmness. But here's the problem. After 60, these muscles start to weaken. Not because you're old, but because they're not getting the specific nutrients they need to repair and rebuild themselves. And when these muscles get weak, it doesn't matter how good your circulation is, you're going to lose firmness. Before we dive deeper, if you're finding this information helpful, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. This channel is dedicated to helping men over 60 reclaim their confidence and vitality naturally. Now, let me tell you about Robert, a 67-year-old retired engineer who came to my office 6 months ago. He'd been dealing with what he called half-mast erections for 2 years. He could get aroused, he could get partially hard, but he couldn't maintain it. His wife was understanding, but he was frustrated. "Doc," he said, "I feel like I'm letting her down every time." Robert had tried everything. He'd adjusted his diet, started exercising, even tried some supplements. His circulation was actually pretty good for his age. But what Robert didn't know was that his pelvic floor muscles were essentially starving for a specific type of protein that his body desperately needed to repair them. You see, your pelvic floor muscles are different from other muscles in your body. They're what we call slow-twitch muscles, meaning they're designed to contract and hold for extended periods. Think about it. During an erection, these muscles need to maintain steady pressure for 20, 30, even 45 minutes or more. That requires a very specific type of muscular endurance. But here's where it gets interesting. These muscles are also made up of a unique combination of collagen and elastin fibers. As we age, our body's natural production of these proteins decreases dramatically. By age 60, most men are producing about 40% less collagen than they did in their 30s. And when your pelvic floor muscles don't have enough building blocks to repair themselves, they start to weaken. The result? Even if blood flows in perfectly, it flows right back out because the muscles can't maintain the pressure needed to keep it there. Now, I know what you're thinking. "Doc, if it's about protein, why can't I just eat more chicken or beef?" And that's a great question. But here's the thing. Not all proteins are created equal. Your pelvic floor muscles need a very specific amino acid profile to rebuild properly. They need high levels of glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, the exact building blocks of collagen. And that's where these 2 oval foods come in. I'm talking about eggs and almonds, but not just any eggs and not just any almonds. And definitely not in the way most men are eating them. Let me start with eggs. Now, I know eggs seem basic, but hear me out. Eggs contain all 9 essential amino acids in the exact ratios your body needs to build muscle tissue. But more importantly, they contain something called leucine, which is like a switch that tells your muscles to start the repair process. But here's the key. Most men are eating eggs wrong when it comes to pelvic floor repair. They're scrambling them, which breaks down the leucine. Or they're eating just the whites, which eliminates the vitamin D and healthy fats that your body needs to actually absorb the protein. For Robert, I prescribed a very specific way of eating eggs. 2 whole eggs, soft-boiled, eaten first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. The soft boiling preserves the leucine integrity, and eating them on an empty stomach ensures maximum absorption. But eggs alone weren't enough. Robert also needed what I call the second oval, and that's where almonds come in. But again, not just any almonds. Raw almonds contain something called arginine, which is a precursor to nitric oxide. Now, you've probably heard about nitric oxide for circulation, but what most people don't know is that your pelvic floor muscles actually produce their own nitric oxide, and they use it not just for blood flow, but for muscle contraction and relaxation. When your pelvic floor muscles contract, they need to be able to relax between contractions to prevent cramping and maintain endurance. That's where the arginine in almonds becomes crucial. But here's the catch. Roasted almonds have about 60% less arginine than raw almonds. Have you ever noticed how after eating, you sometimes feel less aroused? That's because your body is diverting blood and energy to digestion. But when your pelvic floor muscles are properly nourished, they can maintain function even during digestion. The combination of eggs and almonds creates what I call a protein symphony in your body. The eggs provide the complete amino acid profile for muscle repair, while the almonds provide the arginine for muscle function. Together, they create an environment where your pelvic floor muscles can not only repair themselves, but actually become stronger than they were before. But improving your pelvic floor strength is just the beginning. Because once we strengthen these muscles, we need to make sure they're getting the signals they need from your nervous system. With your pelvic floor muscles getting the protein they need to rebuild, the next piece of the puzzle is making sure your nervous system can actually activate these muscles when you need them. Because here's what most men don't realize. Erectile dysfunction isn't just about weak muscles. It's about disconnected muscles. Let me explain what I mean. Your pelvic floor muscles are controlled by something called the pudendal nerve. This nerve carries signals from your brain down to your pelvic region, telling these muscles when to contract and when to relax. But after years of sitting at desks, driving cars, and general inactivity, this nerve pathway can become sluggish. It's like having a Ferrari with a weak battery. The engine is perfect, but if the electrical system isn't firing properly, you're not going anywhere fast. This is where the timing of eating your eggs and almonds becomes crucial. Remember Robert? When I first prescribed this protocol, he was eating them at dinner. Good intentions, but terrible timing. Here's why. Your body's natural testosterone production peaks in the early morning hours, usually between 6 and 8 a.m. This is when your pelvic floor muscles are most receptive to repair signals. By eating 2 soft-boiled eggs and a handful of raw almonds within 30 minutes of waking up, you're essentially feeding your muscles when they're hungriest for nutrients. The leucine from the eggs acts like a key, unlocking your muscles' ability to absorb and use protein. The arginine from the almonds helps maintain healthy nerve function. But here's where it gets even more interesting. About 3 weeks into Robert's protocol, he called me with a question. "Doc," he said, "I'm definitely noticing improvements, but sometimes it works great, and sometimes it doesn't. What's going on?" This is actually completely normal, and it taught me something important about the recovery process. Your pelvic floor muscles work in layers. The surface layer recovers first. This is what gives you that initial improvement in firmness. But the deeper layers, the ones responsible for maintaining an erection for extended periods, take longer to rebuild. Think of it like renovating a house. You can paint the walls in a day, but if you want to strengthen the foundation, that takes weeks. The same principle applies to your pelvic floor muscles. This is why I always tell my patients to think in terms of cycles, not days. Your muscles repair themselves during sleep, particularly during deep sleep stages. This is when your body releases growth hormone and begins the process of rebuilding muscle tissue. Now here's something fascinating that most doctors don't talk about. The amino acids from eggs have a half-life of about 3 to 4 hours in your bloodstream. This means that if you eat your eggs at 7 a.m., by 11 a.m., half of those amino acids have been used up. But the arginine from almonds? That stays in your system for up to 8 hours. This is why I recommend eating your eggs first, then waiting about 30 minutes before eating your almonds. The eggs provide the immediate building blocks, while the almonds provide sustained support throughout the morning. Robert followed this timing protocol religiously, and by week 4, he reported something that surprised even me. "Doc, it's not just about the bedroom anymore. I'm waking up with morning erections again. I haven't had those in years." This is actually a sign that his pelvic floor muscles were not only getting stronger, but were also becoming more responsive to natural hormonal fluctuations. Morning erections are your body's way of testing the system, making sure everything is working properly. But there's another layer to this that's equally important. Your pelvic floor muscles don't work in isolation. They're part of a complex system that includes your core muscles, your hip flexors, and even your breathing patterns. When you eat protein on an empty stomach, it gets absorbed directly into your bloodstream without competing with other nutrients. This is why the timing matters so much. But there's also a breathing component that most men miss. During the 30-minute window between eating your eggs and eating your almonds, I recommend doing what I call deep belly breathing. This isn't meditation or relaxation, it's actually a way of activating your pelvic floor muscles while the amino acids are being absorbed. Here's how it works. Breathe in deeply through your nose, expanding your belly, not your chest. As you exhale slowly through your mouth, gently engage your pelvic floor muscles, the same muscles you'd use to stop urinating midstream. Hold for a count of 3, then relax. This breathing pattern serves 2 purposes. First, it increases blood flow to your pelvic region, helping deliver those amino acids exactly where they need to go. Second, it strengthens the nerve pathways between your brain and your pelvic floor muscles. Robert started incorporating this breathing protocol into his morning routine. 5 minutes of deep belly breathing between his eggs and almonds. Within 2 weeks, he noticed that his erections weren't just firmer, they were also more predictable. "I used to worry about whether it would work," he told me. "Now I know it's going to work." That confidence alone has changed everything. And that's really the key insight here. Erectile dysfunction isn't just about physical function. It's about confidence. When you know your body is going to respond, you stop worrying about it. And when you stop worrying about it, your nervous system can focus on what it's supposed to do, creating and maintaining arousal. The eggs and almonds aren't just feeding your muscles, they're feeding your confidence. Because when your pelvic floor muscles are strong and responsive, your entire sexual experience becomes more reliable and enjoyable. But there's one more crucial element that ties everything together, and it's something that most men overlook entirely. Now that your pelvic floor muscles are getting stronger and more responsive, there's one final piece of the puzzle that determines whether this protocol will give you lasting results or just temporary improvements. And it's something that happens in the 2 to 3 hours after you eat your eggs and almonds. Most men make a critical mistake during this window. They eat a heavy breakfast, or they drink coffee with sugar, or they immediately jump into their day without giving their body time to process and utilize these nutrients. And this single mistake can sabotage everything we've been building. Here's what's happening in your body during those crucial hours after eating. Your digestive system is working to break down the proteins from the eggs and convert them into the specific amino acids your muscles need. Simultaneously, your liver is processing the arginine from the almonds and converting it into nitric oxide. But here's the thing. This process requires energy. A lot of energy. If you immediately flood your system with other foods, especially carbohydrates or sugars, your body has to make a choice. Process the new food or continue working on the muscle-building nutrients you just gave it. Guess which one wins? The new food. Every time. This is why I tell my patients to think of the 2 to 3 hours after eating their eggs and almonds as sacred time for their recovery. During this window, drink only water and avoid any other food or beverages. Robert learned this the hard way. During his 2nd week on the protocol, he started eating his usual breakfast of cereal and orange juice about an hour after his eggs and almonds. His progress stalled completely. "I don't understand, Doc," he said. "I'm doing everything you told me, but it's not working anymore." When I explained the concept of the processing window, everything clicked for him. He adjusted his morning routine, eating his eggs and almonds at 7 a.m. and not eating anything else until 10 a.m. Within a week, his progress resumed. But there's more to this story. About 6 weeks into Robert's protocol, his wife mentioned something that I found really interesting. "He's different," she said. "Not just physically, but emotionally. He's more confident, more present. It's like he's himself again." This is the part of erectile dysfunction recovery that nobody talks about. When your body starts working reliably again, it doesn't just change your physical experience, it changes your entire relationship with intimacy. Robert described it perfectly. "For years, I approached every intimate moment with anxiety. Will it work? Will I disappoint her? Will I disappoint myself? Now I approach it with anticipation. I know my body is going to respond, so I can focus on connection instead of performance." This is why the eggs and almonds protocol works so well. It's not just about the physical repair of your muscles, it's about rebuilding your confidence in your body's ability to function. When you know that you've given your muscles the exact nutrients they need, when you know that you're following a scientifically sound protocol, it eliminates the guesswork and anxiety. Why this works better together. Let me explain why the combination of eggs and almonds is so much more powerful than either food alone. Your pelvic floor muscles need 3 things to function optimally: complete protein for repair, arginine for nerve function, and sustained energy for endurance. Eggs provide the complete protein, all 9 essential amino acids in the exact ratios your body needs. But eggs alone don't provide enough arginine for optimal nerve function. And while eggs are digested fairly quickly, giving you a burst of amino acids, they don't provide sustained energy. Almonds fill both of these gaps. They're rich in arginine, which supports both nerve function and nitric oxide production. And they're digested more slowly than eggs, providing a steady stream of nutrients for hours after you eat them. But here's the crucial part. The timing of eating them together creates a synergistic effect. The complete amino acids from the eggs prime your muscles for repair, while the arginine from the almonds ensures that your nervous system can actually activate these newly strengthened muscles. Think of it like this. The eggs are the building materials, and the almonds are the skilled workers who know how to use those materials effectively. The long-term vision. I want you to imagine something. Picture yourself 3 months from now. You wake up naturally, without an alarm, feeling rested and confident. You eat your 2 soft-boiled eggs, do your breathing exercises, eat your handful of raw almonds, and then go about your day knowing that your body is strong and reliable. When intimate moments arise, you don't feel that familiar flutter of anxiety. Instead, you feel anticipation. You know that your body will respond because you've given it everything it needs to function properly. This isn't just about sex, it's about reclaiming your confidence as a man. It's about knowing that age doesn't have to mean decline, that your body is capable of healing and strengthening itself when you give it the right tools. Robert summed it up beautifully 6 months into his protocol. "I didn't just get my function back, I got my confidence back, and that's changed everything." Your next steps. If you're ready to start this protocol, remember, 2 soft-boiled eggs first thing in the morning, followed by 30 minutes of deep belly breathing, then a handful of raw almonds. Give your body 2-3 hours to process these nutrients before eating anything else. Be patient with yourself. Remember, you're rebuilding muscles that may have been weakening for years. The initial improvements in firmness usually happen within 2 to 3 weeks, but the deeper improvements in endurance and reliability can take 6 to 8 weeks. Most importantly, don't give up. Your body was designed to function throughout your entire life. Intimacy doesn't have an expiration date. With the right nutrients and the right approach, you can reclaim what's rightfully yours. Remember to like this video if it was helpful, subscribe to the channel for more evidence-based health information, and share your success stories in the comments. Every man deserves to feel confident and capable, regardless of age. Intimacy isn't just about physical function. It's about connection, confidence, and the joy of being fully present in your own body. You deserve all of that. Your body is ready to give it to you. All you have to do is feed it properly.